Hey, welcome to Food News and Chews. President Lincoln here. Jeremy, tell us about the show. The president is in.
This is a great show. This is our President's Day show. We're actually at Ashland State. We're going to be talking some food news based on President Lincoln, and also we're going to be doing an interview with the people here at Ashland Estate. We're going to talk about all kinds of history about Henry Clay, and then I've got a nice little dish called Chicken Fricassee. It's supposed to be President Lincoln's favorite dish.
Yeah. Hey, we'll be back after break.
Welcome to Kentucky's largest commercial restaurant equipment and supply store. Seaworth Superstore is a 15,000 square foot chef's treasure chest.
Seaworth Superstore is the store for those in the restaurant industry, churches, and catering. Find chefware, large equipment, refrigeration unit, about anything needed for a volume event. Seaworth Superstore, in business since 1954, offering free local delivery, so come on in and get hooked immediately.
And a complete line of chef apparel. Seaworth Superstore, located at 1403 Versailles Road and seaworthsuperstore.com.
Why do chefs choose Lions Farm beef?
When I get things in the kitchen, I can tell like right off the bat. After I get done searing it or put it on the grill or roasting it or baking it or frying it or whatever I'm going to do, the second I cut into that thing, whether it's the resistance on the fork or just the way it kind of slides across the knife, it's got to be right on from the get-go. And it seems like this beef does that every single time.
Lions Farm beef, available at Critchfield Meats and lionsfarm.com. Today's shoppers are informed. When shopping for the family meal, today's shopper chooses Critchfield Meats for fresh, all-natural quality meats, guaranteed. Make the right choice and visit our family before you feed yours. Critchfield Meats, the meat specialist, family owned and operated since 1969. That's a grade A choice, folks.
Welcome to Food News and Chews. This is President Lincoln here. Shh, just a minute. The president is reading. Crisis management.
That's probably good.
Hey, let's just do bourbon, okay?
Speaking of which, we could probably have a drink here. That's right.
Why not?
Apparently, Henry Clay, we're actually at Ashland, right? So Henry Clay used to send bourbon up to Washington for political lubrication, right?
Hey, if we could
keep the wheels of government moving.
Yeah, if we can figure out how to get it in the water system, we might get somewhere.
Right.
Now, this one I'm going to keep. This is keeper. Social media marketing for dummies. Okay?
You got to do a little catching up there, Lincoln.
I know. And it's a hot thing coming on. And how not to look old. And what do we have here, Jeremy? We have a book by best-selling author Sylvia Lovely. Oh, the Little Red Book of Everyday
Lincoln's
Heroes.
favorite reads, right?
I mean, really, we're going to find out about everyday heroes here, extraordinary people, and unabashedly promote her book.
Right. So that's the top of the food news segment. So what is the food news for the week?
What's going on?
Tell me.
We have a new restaurant in New York City. That's not usually new news, but this is kind of cool. This is named after your wife's hometown.
Maysville, Kentucky, right?
Rosemary Clooney home.
I just read about this restaurant, and it's kind of along the lines of a lot of restaurants are trending towards the southern style because heirloom is in, Old South is back in, and this is kind of following the curves. I've read about some of the food. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're taking some turn of the century food, kind of like Sean Brock is doing in Charleston and kind of geeking it out in New York.
And Maysville's such a cool town.
It is. It's got a lot of history. But the thing about this restaurant is they were kind of mimicking a lot of the foods that Rosemary Clooney talked about, in some of her performances. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, that's a neat way to kind of design a menu. Is to
visit Maysville in New York City. So, and what else going on?
So I think we're going to open the second branch.
All right, here you go.
Maysville.
Here you go. Food trucks. In the news this morning, the morning that we're filming this anyway. But food trucks, where are we? And by the time this airs, we may even be further down the road.
It's been a big deal in Lexington. We've had a lot of restrictions that allow food trucks to move around in terms of permits. And there's a little bit behind it on some senses because brick and mortar restaurants independent restaurants don't want food trucks parking up right next to them. But that doesn't really seem to happen in larger cities.
Yeah, and you know, it's a happening thing.
Right, and I think food
I'm
trucks
for
are
it.
great because they offer a lot of diversity in your food, because food trucks, they can kind of change their themes, they change their menus every day. So it allows people to be exposed to a lot more foods, and also since they don't have a huge facility to pay for, the food doesn't cost as much.
Yeah,
So people
so
are
that's
more
cool.
apt to try it. So it opens up some eyes and, lets food kind of flow.
Kind of stay tuned on that one. Hey,
But
there's
the new laws actually say that the food trucks, they're promoting, or actually they're saying that they don't have to buy a permit for every place they stop. They can get one that's
trying to alleviate some of the
exactly.
burdens and
Yeah,
such.
so-
Hey, there's at the Super Bowl thing, which was a couple of weeks ago now. There was a Paul Harvey thing put on by a truck company.
Yes.
And it was waxing eloquent about farmers and the small family. Now there's a spoof being made of that,
I'm sure.
and it's called "God Made a Factory Farmer." This is pretty interesting
Yeah.
because, you would have fast food places think that farmers back their trucks up and unload the potatoes that day.
Well,
That's not the picture that's out there.
Let me say
actually.
it was a beautiful,
It was.
piece that Paul Harvey wrote, and it was a beautiful commercial, but the spoof is kind of well played, I think, because, yeah, you're right. I think the image that a lot of corporations and big
Yeah.
farms have is that they're actually backing up the truck into the restaurant, and that's not the case. There's still a lot of huge factory farms out there, but these people do grow our food. They keep us fed. What is the right way? I don't know. I think we all need to pay more attention to all natural.
That's
but,
right.
We'll see how
But
this
if
unfolds.
people want to read these things, we'll put them on our website, which
Yeah.
is foodnewsandchews.com. And also, finally, just one more piece. 11 of the most polarizing celebrity chefs: Bourdain, Rachel Ray, Jeremy Ashby.
What would be my contribution?
What have you done lately? I'm never controversial.
Yes, I'm sure you could dig
Yeah.
up something.
Hey, Jeremy, there's an event coming on at this place, and we need to promote
Yeah,
it.
speaking of the bourbon we were talking about earlier, it's called
Tree and Bourbon Trail?
Tree and Bourbon Trail.
Yeah.
It's at Ashland. It seems really
Save a tree.
interesting because it's right here on the property, and they have distilleries set up at different trees. So it's kind of like a trail you walk and try different bourbons, and it's a nice social event. It's in April, something I'm definitely going to check out.
Spring will be here.
Right, because just being on this premise is amazing. So yeah, spring would be the time
right.
to come out. So
Well, Jeremy and I are going to go back to our chess game and, most importantly, the bourbon.
Yes.
Where's the bourbon?
we drink it. We send it up to Washington.
Are we allowed to touch that?
No.
Hey, we'll be back with Food News and Chews and the delicious food. Tell us what that food's going to be.
Chicken Fricassee,
Yummy.
Lincoln's favorite.
All right, we'll see you in just a moment.
A European experience without leaving Lexington at Azure Restaurant and Patio. For lunch or dinner, enjoy excellent service and truly unique cuisine that will delight your senses. Unwind with award-winning cocktails or conduct business over a memorable meal. Every occasion is special at Azure Restaurant and Patio, located off Harrisburg Road in the Beaumont Center.
Jeremy, the restaurant startup business is challenging. We should know.
That's right. In business since 1954, Seaworth Superstore is the place to begin. Reconditioned equipment and the lease to purchase program can get you in and going in no time.
Seaworth, with its dedicated staff, can help you plan with CAD services that provide a successful layout.
Dan and his team will help you fill in the blanks with everything from soft drink machines to exhaust hoods. Come to Seaworth Superstore and make your dreams come true.
Located at 1403 Versailles Road and SeaworthSuperstore.com.
Why do chefs choose Lions Farm beef?
It's consistent, it's delicious, it's got great tenderness, and it's really good for you. This nutritional element of making healthy animals for healthy eating is a big component about why their beef is so delicious. I feel so lucky to be a chef in Kentucky because the best way to express care for someone is to make them something to eat, and I get to do that every single day.
Lions Farm beef, available at Critchfield Meats and lionsfarm.com.
Welcome back, viewers, to Food News and Chews. Huh? Remember, link Hey, you have great taste in jewelry, don't you think?
As you can see, we're doing our President's Day show, and we're at the Ashland estate. It's just amazing, too, isn't this one? I feel like I need to whisper in here. It's
I
just
know, but don't touch the furniture.
Yes.
It's like very historic.
We've
Except
got,
I think maybe I should be allowed to do that.
well, we've got some great interviews here. We've got Christina Bell, the Director of Tours, and Avery Malone. Actually, she's the Director of Tours, and then you have actually the Development Director. And I'm sure that development for this place has been going on for a long time, but further stuff is great. You know, we're in the dining room, which...
Ooh, I can smell the mashed potatoes on the...
Which is beautiful.
That's what Washington
but
had to eat,
I walked
by
in
the
this
way.
place and I can't find the kitchen anywhere. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, the original kitchen was actually outside. We no longer have that building. So the food would have been cooked out there in the kitchen and then brought into a warming kitchen where it would be assembled and then brought in here to the dining room.
So every day is like a big catering gig.
Awesome.
Well, it was a large family.
So
the Henry Clay family actually lived here, right?
The Henry Clay family lived in the original incarnation of Ashland. His son rebuilt it on the same foundation. Same floor plans, some of the same materials, because the original suffered some earthquake damage.
So how old would this actual building be?
This one dates to 1856, and Susan and James were living here by 1856.
And how long was this occupied?
Until 1959, occupied by the family. Henry Clay's great-great-grandson, Henry Bullock, lived here upstairs until 1959 because we opened in 1950 as a museum downstairs.
So in terms of you say there's a smokehouse, and I guess that's where all the meats were prepared and stuff like that for dinner time?
We have a smokehouse outside that's open for public viewing, and yes, the meats would be prepared, particularly hams. Lucretia provided hams for the downtown hotels, and she was known
Who's
to
Lucretia?
Henry Clay's wife.
What a name. I love that name.
It's kind of a Roman name. As was popular when she was born, but she was known to have sold some very high-quality hams, and
Right up your alley, buddy.
Definitely up my alley. I love carrying hams, but smoking, I've never had the privilege of having a smokehouse.
Smokehouse, and I think there is one.
Over here to this.
Can I really? Okay.
Oh, cool.
We'll light that puppy
Hey,
up.
Jeremy, this is President's Day.
Yeah,
Well,
yes. It will
we're
be.
filming for President's Day, so we need to know more about like other presidents and stuff that Henry Clay interacted with, and including me.
well, we do not know for sure if Abraham Lincoln ever visited Ashland.
I'm here.
Until this very moment. But people have speculated over the years, but there's no documentation to prove that he was ever here. We do, however, have artifacts that show that Henry Clay and Abraham Lincoln knew who each other were, and Abraham Lincoln was an ardent admirer of Henry Clay's, saying that Henry Clay was his beau ideal of a statesman and that he almost worshipped Henry Clay.
You know, I was talking to Eric Brooks, the curator here, a fascinating individual, and he actually said that a lot of the speeches that Abraham Lincoln had were quotes from Henry Clay, right?
We know that Henry Clay was cited 41 times by Abraham Lincoln in the Douglas debates when they were debating for the Illinois Senate seats. So he did very much look up to him. He cited him and quoted him.
And we should know, too, Henry Clay was almost president himself and ran several times, was known as the Great Compromiser. What does that mean in this day and age?
We need more of that. And in fact, Henry Clay is still quoted in the Senate, and John Boehner quoted him, and several other notables in today's politics have quoted him. And we wish that they would use
Do as
his
they
compromising
said.
skills.
Do as they quote.
We really try to educate people how very close we came to civil war and disaster 3 times before it actually happened, where Henry compromised. And sometimes, compromise isn't really popular in its own time sometimes.
That's true.
So
looking back on
delaying the
history.
inevitable for a little while was definitely
And it was
props to
important.
him.
Lincoln gave him credit for saving the Union until it was strong enough to save itself.
Now, I've got a question. You've got some artifacts in your
Yes.
hands, and tell me a little bit about those.
Well, this is how we know about what the Clay family ate. I'm holding grape seeds here. These grape seeds would have been found in either Henry Clay's original privy or James's privy, aka potties.
You're too young to know what that is. You do.
No, see, I don't. That's funny that they'd be maybe eating grapes, because most of the time I think we'd turn them into wine around here, right?
Well, they
Yes.
probably did. George Washington did plenty of that, they
Yeah,
said.
that's right.
Henry Clay actually grew grapes here on the property and did produce wine from his grapes and enjoyed drinking that wine.
Well,
So,
good
yes.
for Henry
Nice.
Clay.
He liked
No
bourbon
wonder he
and-
was a good compromiser.
Yes. We also have tomato seeds and strawberry
Can
and
I get a
blackberry
few of those?
seeds.
Heirlooms.
I know, talk about heirloom seeds. That's a big trend right now in the culinary world is sourcing out these older versions of seeds, and these are definitely what people will be looking for. This might be the savior of the world right there in that little vial.
It could be. And you know, I think oftentimes we think of the Victorian diet, the antebellum diet, being very heavy on meats and breads and not so heavy on vegetables or fruits. But this shows us that the Clay family was consuming a considerable amount of fruits and vegetables.
And they had a garden here on the property.
They did have a garden here.
Well, this probably was in the middle of the country.
600 acres.
Yes.
Was this
Entire thing of what is now this beautiful little subdivision. Oh.
Well, I heard that Henry Clay was quite the farmer too, in terms of specifically cattle. Is that correct?
Yes, he was the first American to import Hereford cattle into the country in 1817. And his advice was sought far and wide on farming. He was kind of a Renaissance man, so he wasn't just farming one thing here. This was a hemp farm. It was a horse farm.
Hemp.
Yes, Kentucky's first cash crop.
A little bit in the news these days.
It was used for making rope and fabric, very strong and durable.
That's what they want to do again.
And it's also edible. You can, I've had hemp granola, you can eat the seeds, they make hemp milk, so all kinds of food products.
All kinds
come
of
from hemp.
otherables.
That's all very Kentucky proud, right?
Very
Yes.
Kentucky proud.
And very healthy too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can actually come here. I know there's tours you can see, but there's also events that happen.
Oh, we
in
have
the
lots
state
of events here at Ashland. I don't know if you all got to come to our big Christmas tree lighting in December, but it's our 100-foot tall live Norway spruce. It's the tallest live lit tree in America.
And it's here somewhere.
It's right on the back of the property, on the back lawn. So we go right from that into the spring season, and you know, March Madness is kind of a big thing around the country. So we have our own March Madness here at Ashland, March Membership Madness, where we invite the whole city to come and be a friend of Ashland and get their annual membership, which really supports and preserves Ashland. And then we go right into Henry Clay liked to play poker. So we're having our first ever poker tournament.
Yes, we used to play often.
He was quite famous for
That's
his,
why I'm wearing this.
I went all in everything.
He was famous for his skills in that area as well as all of his other areas. And we are having our first ever poker tournament at the Signature Club in March, on March 22nd. It's for novice players and for players who know what they're doing. So
How can people find out about
They
this?
can go to our website at henryclay.org.
All right.
It's
And
fascinating information.
hey, Washington's teeth were not wood.
No,
They were
I never heard they were wood.
animal and ivory, but they gave him a lot of trouble, and he had to eat. Maybe he invented mashed potatoes. You think?
I would think that we could go with that. Yeah, that's
And he
something,
liked
you know.
bacon.
Yeah. Of course he likes bacon. He's an American.
Jeremy and I have this bacon thing. You've been listening to Food News and Chews, and we'll be back after this break.
A European experience without leaving Lexington at Azure Restaurant and Patio. For lunch or dinner, enjoy excellent service and truly unique cuisine that will delight your senses. Unwind with award-winning cocktails or conduct business over a memorable meal. Every occasion is special at Azure Restaurant and Patio, located off Harrisburg Road in the Beaumont Center.
Advertise your product or service on shows like this one. Contact Media 7 Broadcasting today. Call 859-317-4565 or email sales@m7bg.com. Reach potential new customers in the Louisville, Lexington, and other Central Kentucky areas. Get your new ad produced for free by Media 7's audio and video professionals. Call 859-317-4565 today and let Media 7 create a marketing plan for you.
Hi, welcome back to Food News and Chews. We've been doing all things Lincoln here
Yeah,
today.
that's right.
You know, he's the rage.
Yeah, for President's Day.
Hey, you know what? He doesn't look like he ate much. No, he doesn't. He's kind of a string bean kind of guy.
Right.
But there was one thing that apparently he really liked.
If you check out White House records, apparently he liked chicken fricassee. So, you know, I haven't made this since culinary school, so you got to help me along, Sylvia. I'm going to do my best shot at a good Lincoln dish here.
Hey, it sounds like you can't fail.
That's right, that's right. So
all the ingredients.
I'm going to do like a
Now,
chicken
tell me what it is.
fricassee,
Yeah.
which is a nice kind of creamy, succulent chicken. Anybody's going to like this dish.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to put it with corn cakes. I think that's
Corn
kind of, you know, he's
cakes?
from Kentucky. It's a nice southern thing too.
Cornbread? Corn
Cornbread,
cakes?
yeah.
That's the new...
thing, yeah, possibly. That's an inside joke, right?
Yeah, really.
So anyway, we're gonna start with Lion's Farm all natural chicken.
Lion's Farm. Oh, yummy. That means it's really good stuff.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
So we want to go into flour, and I use a nice seasoned flour, just something with salt and pepper in it. Get them nice and dredged for a good saute.
So you don't do that, don't dredge them in any kind of liquid before you do that part, right?
No, just a nice little flour coating. And this is, like I said, seasoned flour, so it's got some salt and pepper already in it. But I keep the salt and pepper light on this dish because we're going to finish it at the end with plenty of good seasoning.
Now
So-
this differs from fried chicken. You're not frying
Yeah, you would
this,
batter
right?
that, then go into oil. Now we are going to take this and go ahead and start sauteing it in the skillet and get it nice and brown on both sides, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
So if you can tell, the skillet's on kind of a medium heat. There's a little bit of smoke rising. It's not too hot, but you do want to get a little brown on the chicken. So
Yeah, and this is called sautéing.
that's right. You know, sauteing actually literally means to jump around in the pan. So you
Really?
notice there's a little activity and you kind of saute, so that means jumping around the pan. So we let this brown on both sides, then we're going to take it out and start the whole fricassee process, which uses a lot of good onions and vegetables, and we cook those down.
Fricassee stands for?
I don't
Do you
know.
Sounds frisky.
Some
and
old French thing that we
wild
learned in
and-
culinary school.
yeah.
That's really delicious, though.
Fricassee.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's
So
go fricassee.
while this sautés, we can make our corn cakes.
Let's do it. And we're going to do corn cakes that make the fricassee. Put the frick in the fricassee.
That's right. Well, it's going to be great because the corn cakes will be a nice base
Uh-huh.
for that succulent, juicy chicken with the nice cream and vegetables over
You're
top.
killing me.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So,
Amazing.
you know, a little bit of flour, equal parts flour and cornmeal. Now,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to get on to me, especially if you're from the true South, because you only use cornmeal in that. But I like a little lighter
A
cake.
little lighter cake,
So the
okay.
flour kind of balances it out.
I'm with you, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, the rest of the dry ingredients, just a pinch of sugar. I like a little sugar in my
I
cornbread.
do too, actually.
Little baking powder.
My daddy used to make cornbread. That was his specialty.
Well, it's delicious. Nice little bit of salt. So
Good
salt,
Southern
sugar,
dish.
and there's your dry ingredients. We always mix those first, right, Sylvia?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I've got that on the checklist. Check.
That's right. So we'll add an egg, which we have right here. Crack that to the well. And then we'll just finish with milk. And there's really no right way to do this in terms of measurement.
Yeah.
Just till it becomes like a nice batter consistency.
Just some whole milk.
Yeah. So a little bit at a time.
Okay.
Just spin that together.
Now
So
what
you
else
get a
we
little
got
bit loose,
going on
almost
here?
like a pancake batter, really, because we're going to make cakes.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of sauteing, right? Jumping around the pan.
Jumping around.
We'll flip it over. We got a nice little brown on both sides, or one side, and we'll go to both sides this time. I'm going to move the chicken over a little bit and go ahead and add some vegetables. And we're going to use a little bit of yellow onion.
Yeah.
And you know,
I was
fricassee
sneaking
usually
the
has
onions. Yeah.
just like a lot of onions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use yellow onion. I'm also going to use some shallot.
Shallots are purple onions.
No, they're actually, they're not really an onion. but
Really?
yeah, they're in the onion family.
They look just like an
They
onion.
do. Now, see, these are actually purple or red onions.
Uh-huh.
So I'm using 3 types of onions in this.
Did Mary Todd Lincoln cook this for him, you think?
I have no idea.
Actually, she was from the aristocracy.
Well, after
and
I
grew
get
up
done, you're
with
cooking this for me, right?
servants. Yeah, right. I don't even rise the level of kitchen.
As this cooks, we can add other vegetables like, you know, nice fresh garlic.
But he was raised in Kentucky, and I guess this was like a real typical dish, like right around Elizabethtown and such, right?
Yeah, you got the movement of like the French methods
Yeah.
kind of coming in. This is one of those fancy
Yeah, it was
dishes.
sort of all blending in at
Yeah.
that time. And,
It really is good.
the
though.
whole food thing of that century was really interesting because it was kind of coming. It was the melding together of the aristocracy of the South
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of black culture, African American culture blended in, and then the old South.
Yeah.
Just ordinary folk too, and what they do.
Well, this is a fabulous
This is
dish.
a blend.
So I've added mirepoix, which just means celery and carrots and onions. So those are going. We can kind of put the chicken on top of the vegetables now.
Uh-huh.
So the vegetables can cook a little bit. The chicken's just kind of nice and
You want to keep
steamed.
those vegetables firm or
And
Southern cooking?
I like to cook them way down. So this
Yeah.
is gonna, if you want, take the chicken out
You
of
can
the
do it
skillet
either way, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and let it sit on the plate, and then you can finish with the chicken later. But you really want to get the chicken cooked just
Sure.
right. So we're gonna
the
let
Southern
that kind of simmer.
vegetables are always real soft, right?
Exactly.
And,
So a little bit of chicken stock can go into the skillet,
okay.
and we'll just kind of let that do its thing for a little while and cook. We have to finish it with something called a liaison, which is cream and egg to finish it, make it nice and really, really creamy and
Yeah.
succulent.
Oh, I saw the cream over there. I
I
wondered.
kn- yeah. But first we got to make a corn cake, and that's your job. All right, Sylvia, we got the skillet kind of getting warm, right?
Yeah.
And we got to use a little bit of melted butter because that's how
gotcha.
you make corn cakes. You want to use butter. I like to use butter. If you want to kind of
Oh,
come
I
back
don't
and
like
use,
butter at all.
if you want to use olive oil, that's fine. I just kind of like to keep it, keep it real.
Yeah, let's do it real. Let's do it like they did it, like my daddy did it. Yeah.
That's right. So go ahead and use 1 scoop and
One
just
scoop.
ladle in there like a pancake.
Right, let's not catch on fire, Sil. See, I can't even handle this stuff.
So right into the center of the skillet.
In the well.
That's
I've
right.
learned
there
that.
you go. And once that gets warm, it's going to start cooking for you and make just like a nice corn pancake.
Do you flip it?
We will flip it, but we got to let it cook on the one side first, or else that's going to be a big
Just
mess.
like a pancake. It really is just like a pancake. And I can actually make Aunt Jemima pancakes. You know,
Well, then
that
you
box
can make
of
these
stuff.
corn cakes.
Okay.
One thing that's really important for this dish to give it the richness we want, the way Lincoln would have liked it, is to make a cream liaison. And what you have to do with that is add egg yolk, a couple of those to a little bit of the cream. So we'll just actually do it the other way around.
This is half and half or pure?
This is heavy whipping cream.
Heavy whipping cream.
No doubt, good stuff. And then we'll just kind of whip those together.
No calories.
No. Eggs and
Lincoln
milk,
needed them.
eggs and cream together, right?
Yeah.
And the important part about this is you want to add a little bit of the liquid from the skillet into here. And
This
that's
is
just to
tricky.
temper it so you don't really kind of, curdle your cream, and it brings up the temperature slowly.
I see.
So we'll kind of simmer those together, see?
Yeah, gotcha.
And then we're going to put this right into the skillet. And what's going to happen is that egg's going to start to cook into the cream, and it's going to thicken it really nicely.
Fricassee.
Fricassee, yep.
Ooh, it's
Notice
a
that's
nice
getting
little
super nice.
stew almost kind of thing here. And their
It's
little
so
cake
rich.
is going to town here.
Yep, so we'll coat this up, let it simmer a little bit longer, kind
Oh,
of
wow.
thicken.
That looks good.
Turn down our heat some. And then I like to use lots of good fresh herbs in there. Make sure we season it good with salt and pepper. And then right at the end when we plate it, we're going to use a little fresh lemon juice. We'll get to that in just a moment. So your corn cake is almost ready for flipping.
Flip! Where's my flipper?
We're going to use this little spoon.
No, I can't do that. Look, watch him, watch him. All right, now what, Jeremy? We're at the grand finale of the fricassee.
That's right. You want to go ahead and finish with just a touch of lemon juice. And squeeze it right in there. I like that last
You can
minute.
not munch on carrots while you're waiting, too.
So we'll give it a little stir.
I'm trying hard, I mean,
Well, how can you resist this, right? Nice succulent chicken.
I'll tell you
right
what.
into the bowl.
I started hanging around with you.
Then plate the other one. Nice and simple.
Yeah, little slithery things.
You want lots of this good stuff
that
here.
juice.
Yeah. And nice vegetables. The onions are cooked down nicely.
They look perfect, actually.
Yeah. And then your corn cake, just kind of use that
can't
as a
wait.
garnish. You could possibly just maybe cut it in half and do this kind of thing with it.
Oh, Lincoln would have been proud.
I think Lincoln would have liked that one.
Yeah.
Well, nice and simple,
Hope he
really
had
juicy.
The movie is so interesting. It's up for an Academy Award, and so is Daniel Day-Lewis, who's a phenomenal actor. And they didn't show much food in the show.
So what do you think about that? Some of you
I'm
cook at
loving
home?
it.
Delicious, right?
Well, you know it. I can at least do the corn cake.
Here, how about
You
a
taught me.
little taste of this sauce? What do you
Oh
think?
my, that is so good.
Yeah, this is
You're
classic,
good.
classic stuff. So here's a little chicken fricassee, Lincoln's favorite for President's Day.
I love it. Thank you for joining us today at Food News and Chews, and we'll see you next week.